Let's focus on developments in the country's economic hub in Gauteng. Well, the Economic Development MEC in that province, Pakstau, police and other departments have conducted a surprise business compliance inspection in the Johannesburg CBD. The MEC joins us now with more details on that surprise inspection. So MEC Tau, thank you for your time. What exactly does a surprise business compliance inspection in the Johannesburg CBD entail?
Thank you very much, Tulas, and good afternoon. The visits today were led primarily by our Consumer Affairs Division, working together, of course, with our Liquor Board, the City's Environmental Health Inspector, South African Police Services, and other agencies, and we visited Bellevue to do a number of things. The first is to inspect compliance to the Consumer Affairs Act and related issues. We found, for example, one of the motor vehicle, second-hand motor vehicle dealers completely non-compliant from a whole range of regulations that include things such as basically advising the consumer of the price of the vehicle. There's no pricing on the vehicle. There's no indication that the vehicle has been involved in an accident. There's no guarantee with regards to their recourse if the vehicle is defective and finds mechanical problems. And you would know that in this day and age in South Africa, we don't have food stewards. It is important that there is a form of warranty. So we're able to do that. We issued a compliance notice. The expectation is to follow up with the South African Police Services to ensure compliance. And if there's non-compliance, to ensure enforcement, including possible closure. And we take this as an opportunity to ensure compliance, but to also bring to the awareness of the consumers their rights, the right to approach the Consumer Affairs Office of the Gauteng Provincial Government to indicate areas where you are concerned about goods that are being sold to consumers. And this would range from mechanical instruments to vehicles to any other consumer-related matters. Consumers can bring this to our attention. We will investigate where there are infringements. We'll take this to the Consumer Affairs Court that is under our jurisdiction to ensure that people comply and they are able to issue all the necessary fines and mechanisms of mitigating and or resolving problems that the consumer.
So, MEC, that's quite interesting. Sorry, MEC, that's quite interesting, the example you just gave me, because that would not have been the first thing that comes to mind for me when you're talking about, compliance inspection in relation to consumer rights and the practices, best practices and the law around consumers. So it seems to me, for me, initially I probably would have thought about those instances where people highlight that, you have this tin of pilchards and it long expired, but you still have it on your shelves. So what you just said now suggests that this is multi-pronged, and I imagine that it needed the technical expertise of a variety of people and departments.
Well, it certainly does include a variety of people and departments. One of the enforcement units in this regard is the South African Police Services, particularly as it comes to closure of particular sites and or stopping business activity. And for us, that's why I was saying it's important that we bring to the attention of the consumer what their right is, so that the consumer is able to ensure that they are protected. And it's not just the tin of pilchards. Of course, it includes the tin of pilchards, which we also found today, actually, and literally the tin of pilchards, amongst others that we found at the retail facility. But it includes all products that consumers engage with where they believe they are either being sold products that are defective, they are not protected from a pricing point of view. So consumers have rights, and we are there to protect the rights of the consumers. And we visited a shop, a retail shop, where we found products ranging from pilchards to cooking oil to maize meal that essentially had expired, years of expiration, including juice, fresh milk, which is supposed to be fresh, that has expired. And so we found many defects at that shop. We sought the certificates of compliance. They were unable to demonstrate the certificate of compliance, and they were issued with a notice to stop trading at that immediate point. So the officers were able to enforce that trading stops and that were able to follow up on those matters. The same applies to a liquor shop that we visited together with the liquor board to ensure compliance to liquor license-related issues.
MEC, I have no doubt that the main objective on your part is to set the Gauteng economy on a firmer footing, but I'm wondering, and I imagine that many other people would be wondering, to what extent is there a conversation in the backdrop that sort of talks to, issues of immigration compliance, whether these conversations are linked around immigration compliance, visa compliance and the likes. And the reason I ask this, you'll be aware that from time to time, when conversations and concerns about immigration compliance in the country and enforcement thereof come up, from time to time you will hear also some of the justification of actions by elements in society also touching on non-compliance by some traders around issues of consumer, consumer rights and what is supposed to happen in terms of the law. Am I on the right track that part of that is about responding to some of these concerns that we hear from time to time?
Well, we coincidentally found that the two of the three traders that we visited where enforcement took place today, of course the campaign still goes on for the rest of the day, but two of them were foreign nationals. We're not particularly targeting foreign nationals, but we have a responsibility to ensure as government that there is compliance to the rules of the country and that we protect the territorial integrity of our country, including the right to trade in a fair way, to comply to the Consumer Affairs Act, the Liquor Act, and other legislation, including the Immigration Act. It is an important issue. And you would know that Premier Makura indicated in the State of the Province address that we have to deal with illegal immigration and, of course, the conduct of some of particularly illegal immigrants in compliance to the laws of this country. And we have to be very decisive in taking the appropriate action. And the action that we took today almost coincidentally demonstrated the reality that I think all of South Africans are confronting about some of the activities that are unfortunate by people that come from outside the country in terms of compliance.
All right, MEC Pakstow, I've got to thank you for your time and your insights on today here on eNCA. He's the MEC for Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture and Rural Development in Gauteng, updating us there about a compliance inspection that they undertook alongside with police and other departments in the Johannesburg CBD.